We may have gone up to the cliff and looked over, but nobody wants to jump yet.
Well, not yet. It's a question, or a series of them, that has hung over farmers in Idaho for decades. So I guess we can give it attention for a few days here on the 208. Where's the water? Is there enough of it? And who has the right to use it? In the Gem State, it's a matter of first in time, first in rights. And there are two categories to these rights. The surface water users, those who rely on canals for water, they are usually users with a longer legacy. Then there are the groundwater users, those that have to tap the water under the ground, kind of like the aquifer. They are generally the new kids on the rural route block. Well, this summer, the groundwater users are at the center of a dust-up, with some farmers facing curtailment. This means the Department of Water Resources is threatening to shut off their access to water because, well, they're not in compliance with an 8-year-old statewide agreement. Joe, you've been kind of watching this the last couple of days. This curtailment would impact about 500,000 acres of farmland. You spoke with one of those men, well, one of those farmers, someone connected to all that land today. What are they looking to see? What do they want to have happen?
Well, in the short term, they want a solution that involves no curtailment, and that's going to be likely the solution that we get out of these short-term negotiations. But long-term, there's a lot of more questions, and there's a fantastic question of what do we do after we get through the current impasse to have a lasting solution. The problem, the eastern Snake Plain Aquifer, it has been declining since the 1950s, and that's when groundwater pumping really started to increase for irrigation. This has reduced aquifer levels and spring flows that feed into those surface water sources. There's also a disagreement on how mitigation efforts should address it all. We heard from the groundwater perspective just today. Groundwater users in portions of Idaho remain in limbo as negotiations continue to avoid a water curtailment.
It would absolutely devastate us. It'd put us under.
Adam Young is a third-generation farmer out of Blackfoot, Idaho. For 70 years, the family farm has been in business. The fear is that curtailment or the shutting down of water could bring extinction. For now, Young continues his daily work, but knows there is a potential shutoff looming. He, too, received a curtailment order.
Well, I mean, effectively, we don't really have any other choice, because to say we're going to put an end to our season right now is to say we're going to put an end to our farm permanently.
So immediately, we want to solve the curtailment.
TJ Budge is general counsel for Idaho Groundwater Appropriators. He explains their current perspective.
It's really a philosophical disagreement as to how the state should manage its resource. We're in an era of diminishing water supplies from climate change and other factors, and we want to continue to sustain our economy. And there's a difference as to how we do that most effectively.
A mitigation plan was most recently drafted in 2015 and put into action the following year. Groundwater users share a perspective that the plan is now outdated, needing a change in how impact to surface water users with more senior rights are measured and reflected in mitigation efforts.
We ought to use modern technology to manage the resource better. We ought to become more efficient in how we use the resource. So we think there's a lot of things that can be done that are better for the public, better for the state, keeps the seniors in business. So we understand that they need to be able to irrigate their crops. We think we can do that in a way that keeps a lot more farmland in production.
The Idaho Department of Water Resources informed groundwater users that mitigation was needed this season. It pairs with the 2016 state plan that requires groundwater reductions of 240,000 acre-feet per year. There are critics of the groundwater users who point out the laws and regulations are what they are, and there is a violation happening whether you like the existing system or not. A point from groundwater users. They believe the calculations from the 2016 agreement are now off.
We know more about how the aquifer works and how it interacts with the river. Some of the assumptions that went into the 2015 agreement didn't hold true, and we've got to respond to that and figure out how to manage our resource most effectively to meet the water needs of the seniors in a way that keeps farmland in production, and that's our mission.
It has never been the position of any of us that we do not have any obligation either to the aquifer or to ensure that senior water right holders are not harmed by shortages. We understand that we are junior. We understand that we need to be able to work together to come up with solutions that can ensure water supply to farmers with senior water rights. But we also need to do that in a way that doesn't put half of the state out of business.
The timing of the curtailment order is also a point of contention. There's an understanding of the laws and authority from state officials, but in reality, they believe it just isn't feasible according to the groundwater perspective.
I mean, you can't do that without losing everything. The timing of it is terrible.
We understand prior appropriation. We understand that the seniors need to have enough water to irrigate their crops. How we go about achieving that, there's more than one way to do it. And that's the heart of the conflict. We don't think escalating dry ups is the right way to do it.
For now, complicated negotiations continue. There is optimism a short-term solution is close. There's also a commitment to creating a lasting one, too.
And we've had assurance from the governor and other leaders of the state that they recognize the 2016 agreement is showing its age, it's no longer workable, and we've got to come up with a better path forward. And so we're going to take them at their word. And we're doing our best to try to solve 24 with a process to change course going forward. We cannot be here next year.
To be extremely clear, this is just one of many perspectives, dozens or even hundreds. But the farmer you heard from, Adam Young, he tells me that junior groundwater users are more than willing to go to the table for more solutions, and they're more than willing to pay their fair share for those solutions. Brian, the question is, what do those solutions look like? The truth is there are so many different stakeholders that not everybody's going to be happy at the end of this.
And I assume these agreements that come up, like 6 years ago, whatever, they don't have a shelf life of 10 to 20 years. So these are issues that are going to have to be addressed on a more frequent basis because of climate change, I'm guessing.
And the technology to measure it also changes. At the same time, though, there are people in the surface water camp that say, look, the time to negotiate was last fall. Why is this coming up now? So there's a big debate to be had. The short-term goal, though, is to make sure that no one has their water shut off.
We'll see what happens. Thanks, Joe.